Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're back at Great Valley for a Great Valley Thursday practice crit. This crit is pretty good chance for you to try different things, try different ways of racing. And today my goal was to try and break away. The field usually runs or goes around this circuit at about 26 miles an hour average, so breaking away is pretty hard. And let's jump straight to the lap 3. This is me riding around like fifth wheel, right around fifth or sixth wheel here. I'm behind this bicycle therapy guy, and I kind of was planning to attack on my own here, but you'll see in a minute or in a second he actually goes first, so I just follow. I think it's gonna be right around somewhere here. Yeah, he goes and I follow. It's still pretty early in the race, but I kind of want to just, my goal today was to break away, so I wanted to try and do whatever I can. So we're going around 32 here, so it's pretty good speed. I'm still not on his wheel, but I'm slowly catching up, and I'm right on his wheel here. And I just pulled through just to kind of show him that I'm motivated. I kind of want to try and see how this goes, and I take the front. Let's see how we rotate. This part here is actually a little bit of an uphill. I know the course kind of seems flat, but this hill usually just takes a lot out of you, no matter what. The speed just went from 30 to 20, so it's kind of like you wouldn't expect it, to be honest. And here we do pretty good rotation, I think. It's just that it's two of us, it's pretty early. There's 30 laps of this course, this is lap 4. So, and you really have to be going at least 29, 28 in the breakaway to kind of stay away from the group. Plus the strongest riders, I think, of this that show up through this are still in the main group, so it's pretty unlikely, and I think we both know that. It's unlikely it's gonna go, but we're still trying. And that's what our practice crits are for. So wherever you guys are racing, if there's a practice crits you guys do, just try different things, see what works. I should technically be decent breakaways, but as you'll see later, I have a lot of work still. I think this guy is about my size, or closer, so it's not terrible being behind him. I'm actually getting some rest. And there was I think this was actually a headwind here. Oh no, this was a tailwind, and then there was a crosswind left. No, this was a headwind, sorry. Then there was a little bit of a crosswind left to right on this straight here. So we do another rotation. I think we're gonna get caught pretty soon. Yeah, actually this is the last. Yeah, they catch us on this straight. So we managed about 2 laps ahead. Not terrible, but I'm going 25. I should be going, 27, 28, 29 if I want to stay out. And I look back here and I know they caught us. So what I do is I decide to stay in the front, because if I was to let the guys pass here, I would lose a lot of momentum for this hill, and then I would also go wide on the hill, which would make me lose a lot of spots. So what I do is I stay up, I take this hill in the front, and that leaves me a lot of space to slide back. So these guys, these Vitesse guys, Vitesse, I think that's how you say it, sorry if I butcher that, but they had a big team today. But anyway, yeah, I leave a lot of space to slide back, so this way I don't have to push too much power, and I can just slide in, or slot in whenever the guys, pass. And this guy in a green and white kit ahead of me is I think the tallest guy there, and it's really nice being in his draft, I'll be honest. So yeah, that's about it. The first break we tried, it got caught, but there will be more at some point. Yeah, this is pretty nice. The draft behind this guy is great. And here we go, lap 7. I was sitting third wheel again. There was a break that went without me. I didn't want to cover that because this guy in front of me wasn't in it. Now this guy in front of me is Jeff Watts. Yeah, his last name is Watts, so that's all you need to know about him. But to be honest with you, his middle name should be Arrow, because this guy is so low. I'm behind him, eating wind like I'm pulling. That's how low this guy gets. But anyway, so he's one of the strongest guys in the field, and usually if he is not in a break, the break's not gonna work. But if he is in a break, there's a good chance the break will stay away. So I saw him go, I kind of got on his wheel, and I'm doing anything I can just to stay there. And as you can see, well, I don't know, I thought he wanted me to pull through here, but there was no room. So we cut the break. These guys were ahead of us, and I think these guys actually get on our wheels, so this is good. But look, I'm behind Jeff here, and I'm doing, this is a little bit of a downhill, so it's doing less, but I'm doing about 350 to 400 watts sitting in his draft, which it's definitely not ideal. And I know it's still early in the race, so doing that would definitely blow me out a little bit. Well, let's see this. Yeah, he's crazy. He's in a TT position, cornering at 32 miles an hour. This dude is insane. He's so low. My heart rate's 187, 188. So I'm doing a lot of work behind him here. Yeah, and I just can't catch any. If you guys have any advice on how to ride behind a guy that's so aero and slippery, and Jeff, man, you should really do an hour record. just do it. I think you could get close close to the record at least. But yeah, if you guys have any advice how to ride behind a slippery guy like this, I'm a little taller than your average cyclist, so it's definitely a disadvantage in cases like this. But either I just accept that I'm gonna be burning a lot of power, or just try and position better maybe. That's another thing. I was leaving a lot of, I think, too much of a gap behind him. I guess I gotta work on that a little bit. So here I take the front. This is right over the hill. It's a little bit of a downhill here, so we'll get some speed. In retrospect, if I'm tired, I guess I should just take really short pulls and try and rest as much as I can until I'm kind of ready, or rested a little bit more. Because it's spoiler alert, I didn't make it in this break. I kind of had to drop back to the field, but as soon as I dropped back and I got a couple of seconds of rest, I was able to just push again. And here I'm just non-stop working, so it's hard for me to really add to the pace. At least I'm not disrupting it, but I think if I take shorter pulls and then try and do a couple of turns or rotations where I take some rest, and then I can really contribute more. Like this guy's racing, the orange guy, he did a good job there. He took a shorter pull. Here I have a gap opening too much. That's definitely not ideal. I have to close it. I have to then accelerate, and accelerating at 32 miles an hour in itself is already hard. I take this a bit too wide, and just pumping watts again just to stay on the wheel. I could slam my stem down a little bit, but I don't think I want to do that at this point. Maybe through the winter, just to get used to the position, but for now I think I'll leave it. But there is definitely room for me to go even lower if needed. I think here I'm finally getting some rest. But then unfortunately the hill comes, and at the hill you just gotta push. I'm also heavier than these guys, so me going up almost to 700, 800 watts, 600 here just to stay on a wheel is takes a toll. Yeah, look at that, he's so low. Here I think I'm thinking it's either I try and go with them all the way and kind of you know, hope I don't blow up, or I drop back. I'm honestly thinking the field could catch them, because it's, you know, it's rare that breakaways stay out in this course. So I was thinking, yeah, maybe if I drop back, the field will catch them, and then, you know, I can do a sprint. But, you know, obviously that didn't happen. But I think in this moment, when you're so tired, any little chance of you resting, you're going to want to listen to that, you know. Just like, you know, obviously you don't want to sometimes, that's not ideal, but if you offer me to stop, I'm probably gonna take it when I'm dying like this. So I was fighting myself for a couple of laps there, saying, you know, telling myself, oh man, you can just drop back, you're gonna be fine. So that's so interesting and kind of funny when you're actually riding this hard, of how your mind plays tricks on you. I think this might be the last lap that I stay with him. What I actually should have done here, I should have probably pulled off right now, because I was pretty much smoked. But I kind of still want to try and stay with them. Obviously trying to go with my goal of the race, which was to break. But here I just the gap just gets big. I don't know how I let that open, and I just couldn't close it. And then I mess up this guy. Sorry dude, don't know your name, but my bad. But he caught them, so that's good. And I just kind of just relaxed and I waited for the field. And so here, not even half a lap later, there was another break trying to catch. So I just jumped on their wheel. Why? I don't know. I like racing. But there were two of the Vitesse guys here, and one of their guy was up in a break with Jeff. So I didn't think that these guys would actually chase, but I figured might as well. And since these guys were a little bigger than the other guys, I wanted to see if it's actually me just being too far away, or is it me just being too up high in a wind versus other guys. And what I did notice here, I'm still doing, I'm leaving too big of a gap open in between the guy in front of me, but even still I'm doing less work, I think, than I did behind Jeff. So it definitely is, a combination of two, but I think me getting lower here really, would help behind Jeff. I don't know what we were doing here. I thought this guy would slide in, but I think it's Mike, but he didn't, so I kind of caught back. Then we did a rotation, but I think it kind of fell through. I think this break kind of fell through, or we got caught. I think we get caught soon. Yeah, I think in like this lap, this break gets caught by the field. Still pulling pretty decent here. Yeah, and we get caught. I just skipped that part. Nothing interesting really happened until about, this is lap 27, until about here when we started really speeding up. I saw the two Vitesse guys go on the right, and I kind of took it on the outside here and just figured I was gonna wait for them to go. Looked like they were trying to establish some sort of a lead-out train maybe, so I wanted to kind of see how that works. Maybe had some fun with that. But I don't think it was really. Maybe it was, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, but looked like a lead-out train. I think we were doing some sort of a sprint rotation. Maybe that's what you call it, but you would just kind of get on top of the guy and then pull out on the right. And then the guy behind you would pass. It was different than usual rotation. I don't know what you would call this, but you'll see it. I think they were trying to kind of explain that as we go. Yeah, so he told me here what to do, and I kind of went up. And I think I pulled off right away because that was the goal. But then one guy goes as well, and then after him nobody really followed, so this kind of fell through. There was this guy on the side that GB just passed. He was telling us laps, but he was telling us the wrong count. I don't know if he was telling us laps or the time to the break ahead. There was another break that went, I think we're a couple of seconds behind him, but I think we kind of got confused with the lap count as well. We ended up lap early. And here again, what I do is I take a front, even though I probably shouldn't, but I take a front just so I have enough room to kind of slide back so I don't have to push crazy numbers to stay in the field. This thing really worked well for me as I'm a little heavier, so going over the hills is not an easy task. 1% hill is pretty hard. So I think, yeah, the field is slowly speeding up here. There should be two laps to go, but I think we do one more lap after this, and then it was a confusing sprint. It wasn't really a sprint, it was just kind of like some guys are sprinting, some guys were not, so we'll see that. But here I'm thinking, you know, I want to stay in the top third of the field, so I'm in a good position for the sprint. The guys are slowly swarming around, so that's never, you know, that's never good. And there was this girl ahead of us. She's 2 wheels up from me. She was really fast, very strong. Here I'm just trying to protect my spot. I like this position still. Since the sprint finish is kind of on this end of this flat almost, it's in there. It's a kind of wide. The road is pretty wide. It's not that hard to really go around people, and the draft you get from having, you know, 10 people in front of you just seems really nice. You can carry a lot of momentum if you get a good wind up behind them, even though probably you want to be higher up for the sprint. So I think this is, you know, this is our last lap, even though we should have 2 laps, right? But nobody knew anything, so we're kind of still riding. And I think some guys here start going, you know, going for it last lap, and some of us are just thinking there's 2 more laps. So it was a little confusing at the end, but this is the last lap, or was the last lap. I'm trying to move up a little bit, get myself in a better position. This track guy was a really good wheel to follow. I was getting good draft from him. Here there was a crosswind, so you want to stay on the right side. I'm taking the outside because, you know, I'm stupid sometimes, but it's fine. I think, you know, there's half a lap left. I got enough in my legs for this. This guy lets a little gap open, but then I don't close it, so he has to. I probably should have gone on the right and followed this green guy. He had a good line here, but then I was thinking you would get closed off if you take the inside, but you didn't. And now here I'm still thinking we have 2 laps left, but everybody starts accelerating really hard, and I'm kind of noticing that, oh, this might be it. So I'm trying to close this gap. And now here I didn't really sprint, I just kind of stayed seated, and I start putting some decent power down seated just so I can get myself up in the front. And then I see some guys standing up sprinting, so I just kind of push a little bit more just so I can get there and see what's happening, you know, if it's actually done or not. But I end up passing almost everyone, and I get to the front here and everybody stops. So that's how we found out that was the last lap. Hopefully at some point we can actually have a counter or something on the side where we know officially when the last lap is. It would be nice to kind of practice sprints against these guys. There's some pretty strong guys in the field. But yeah, thank you.